And here we are. We are streaming. Let's just record just for the sake of recording. Yes, hey everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Let me make sure it's actually working here. Let's go to YouTube and look at the page here for live stream. Oh, I guess I'm right on time. It was pretty coincidental, eh? I thought I'd be a little early. All right. Let's see here. And here we are on the page. Okay. All right. I'm going to mute myself. I don't want to listen to myself babbling. So it will use a little more bandwidth both to stream and play the stream. But you know what? We got plenty of bandwidth, right? So plenty of bandwidth. No more having to deal with the streams dropping out at random. That's a good tip that I learned a long time ago. I learned it the hard way. If you try to live stream on platforms like YouTube and you have really awful upload speeds, it's not going to work well. Just be aware of that. I guess you could do it on Wi-Fi if the connection was good enough. I wouldn't. That's just me. I like having my hardwired network cable. Anyway, let's look at some stats here. Let's see. 6 watching now. Yeah, so I apologize for my babbling, but as I say, welcome to the stream. And yeah, I haven't done one of these in a while. And let's look at the chat here. Bryant says hi. Ray the blind gamer says hi. Luca something says hi. Yep. Hey everybody. Hirosaban, or I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, says hi from Pakistan, or Pakistan. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I do apologize. See, we have a global audience. That's pretty cool. Andrew Graham says, I have an interesting thing to share. I do too. I got some new toys. He says, this is the same guy, says, a friend of mine played the entire Entombed soundtrack on his keyboard note for note. Oh, that's kind of cool. I'd be curious to hear that. Ray says, how are you? Hey, I'm doing good. How about you guys? I'm doing pretty good. I know the channel hasn't really been that active lately, but it's because I'm running out of good things to demo, really. Had some people ask me to do Project Dark, and I will take a look at that tomorrow. I have to buy all the content for it, but it's like $9. And from what I can tell, it's some kind of a choice-based game. But yeah, no, I'm doing okay. Elif says, what do you think about ChatGPT? ChatGPT, it's... Hang on a second, let me make sure I lined up with the microphone. There we go. ChatGPT, it's not bad. I think it's more of a toy. It's interesting to play with, and I like having it generate different things, but it's a toy. I don't know. Yes, Bryant says, what do I think of the Sense Player. Yes, I got the Sense Player. For those of you that don't know, this is a portable multimedia player made by a company from Korea called HIMS, HIMS. Actually, I'm very curious to find out what that means. So, if anyone knows what HIMS actually means, I would like to know that. But yeah, the product works quite well. I really do. I like all the different capabilities. The coolest one right now is probably being able to connect it to an iPhone or an Android phone and control that device using the keyboard and well, it's not really, I guess it is a keyboard of sorts. It's got a telephone keypad, it's got your arrow keys, and a few other buttons on it. And you can pair this to your devices, and it acts as if it is a Bluetooth keyboard. So when you press buttons on the unit, it sends keyboard commands to the operating system to tell it how to work, basically. I do wish it had a Braille mode so that you could type in Braille using the keypad. Hopefully that is coming. But yeah, it's a pretty neat product. Luca says, what is Q&A? Q&A is basically question and answer. So you ask the questions, I will try to answer them to the best of my ability, unless, of course, I don't want to. Elif. And that is my phone. I do apologize for that. I should probably put that on Do Not Disturb. And yes, I have ringtones from We're Alive. Let me actually do this real quick. Let me put this on Do Not Disturb. There we go. Now I won't be bothered by notifications. Elif asked me about some election. Not sure what you're talking about, and I'm not going to get into that, even if I did, because yeah, we just don't talk about that kind of stuff in polite company. Chiming Chung, I apologize if I'm not saying that right, so asks, what kinds of games am I going to play next? I don't know, honestly. I'm going to play Project Dark, but after that, I honestly don't know, because I have run out of really good stuff to demo. CD360 says, I sent you a link to that TTS app on Discord. Yeah, that's a text-to-speech app for Mac OS, I think. I guess I could check it out. I don't know if it runs on Big Sur, though, because that's the latest version of Mac OS I have access to. Blue Ken says hi. Hey. Andrew says he turned the song... What? Oh, he turned the song that plays when you fight Alyssa into a hard rock track. Oh, that's kind of cool. I'd be curious to hear this now. That, of course, I think is in reference to the previous one about Entombed. Illustrate English says I should do more game reviews. Yeah, I mean, I would love to, but again, I'm running out of stuff to demo. Aray says Siri is getting dumber. is getting dumber a day. I think you mean by day or per day. Uh, yeah, I don't like I don't like Siri. They've been beaten by their competition. Old Blind Sunny asked what I think of Blood. What? Well, what do I think of Blood War or Real World or Ultimate or even Ultimate Life? I don't know what those are. I think those are unofficial games. I don't play those. Ray says I'm an admin of Blood War. Okay, that's good. Marco Garatoni asks if I like the TC1 rewrite. I think you mean Timecrest. I haven't played a whole lot of it. I played part of Chapter 1, and from what I could tell, it's definitely been expanded. There seems to be way more dialogue and probably some more stuff. I don't really know if I have the motivation to go through and play it right now. I might wait until Timecrest 4 comes out, in which case I will start from the very beginning. But if the core plot hasn't really changed, then it doesn't seem worthwhile. Denny says hi, hey. Mashal Sharker, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, says hello. Denny, I just wanted to drop by to say hi, take care, yep. Elif Sterling Walden. Do I know? Because she told me you knew it and you're a songwriter. I have no idea what you're talking about. Super Adventures with Condual Kid says hey, he made it to 1, or he or she. Welcome to the stream. TTS Productions 1200 asked if I've considered doing a TTS reaction series. What would it be reacting to? I have no idea. I don't really know. I guess I could do stuff like that, but it doesn't seem like it would be that great. Blue Ken, do you remember me? Can I call you on Telegram again? Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't know, man. Andrew says, what was the deal with her being, as she's called, a lich, but she's not technically undead? Well, I think she was technically undead, but the way the game mechanics worked, she wasn't. Basically, my understanding is the lich destroyed her and took over her body because it was very powerful or something. I don't really know. The problem with Entombed is the story is very vague. Super Adventures with Condual Kid says you should do a review on Battlefruit. What is Battlefruit? CD says the app works fine on Monterey. I think he's talking about the text-to-speech app on the Mac. Aire says Siri is overrated. Yes, I tend to agree. It's not that good, and it's quite sad because if you remember back to 2011, Apple was the first company to come out with this stuff, and they said how cool it was going to be. And yet, here we are, 12 years later. Not that much cooler. Blue Ken says it's 1:30 a.m. in the Philippines. Damn, that is late. TTS Productions 1200. It's a series where you can react to TTS videos. I don't really know. It would just take too much work. Ooh, and there's thunder. Super Ken Condula Kid says it's like Battleship, except you have to find parts of fruits to make a recipe, and it's on mobile. I may have to check it out. Andrew Graham says, who would win a fight between these two? Who is Ritori from Audio Wizards versus the mages from A Hero's Call? I don't know who that is in Audio Wizards, but probably the mages from A Hero's Call, because they have some really, really powerful magic. Oh, look, I'm caught up on my comments. This is wonderful. Okay, we got some decent watch count here, up to 16. Oh, I went down to 14. But good, I'm caught up. Let me look at this Battlefruit game real quick while I'm waiting for comments to come in. So is it Battlefruit? Is it on iOS? Well, let's check the App Store first. Fruit Ninja, I don't think that's accessible. Is it one word? Battlefruit? Yes, it is one word. Tons of recipes. Oh, it's based on... Oh, so it's like Battleship. It's like a really weird modified version of Battleship. I don't really like Battleship. It's kind of boring. Remember not to hit the ice cubes, but you'll be frozen for one turn. Okay. Oh, you can play with people. Okay, that's kind of cool. Play against the machine. Hang on a second. I need to... There we go. My ear is driving me crazy. No ads. 100% accessible. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. There's a review here that says it made the phone hot and drained the battery. Oh dear. Oh look, and it can work on the newer M1 Max. That's kind of cool. So let's see what's on the Play Store. Battlefruit, Google Play. And sorry about that, it's people messaging me on Google Chat. Let me go back to my comments. Sorry. Mackenzie Parker is going to message me via Google Chat. Okay, let me set that up. Well, actually, I'm not logged into the same account. Just use the iPhone. Andrew Graham says he's the guy who absorbed the gateway, and they tried to stop him. Oh, is that the guy that you have to fight at the very end? Hang on, let me hook up my phone to the mixer so I can monitor these comments here. Yeah, that's the principal boss, right? Oh, and that is not what you're supposed to do. Oh dear. Oh. Look at me dropping things. And why won't my lightning adapter work? Come on. There we go. Oh. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, this is not going to work. Mackenzie is sending me messages on Google Chat. This is very confusing. I don't think I can do this. And what happened was I dropped my iPhone. Marco says, I think in 6 years it will be a Windows 12. Probably less than 6 years. I guarantee you. Bunch of liars. They said, oh, Windows 10 will be the last version. No, it won't, because you want more money. And you want more money for your OEM partners. So, no, it will not. Yeah. Blue Ken's asking me if I could play 1428 Shadows over Silesia. No, that game is exclusively on Steam. I am not buying games from Steam. No. Sleeper Adventures with Condul Kid says the game has gotten really addicting for me. I've completed 16 in 3 days. Illustrate says, give me your 5 best and worst games that you've ever played. That's kind of hard. I don't know. Worst? I mean, I already kind of talked about the best ones, I think. If you go back, I made a top 10 file where I talked about the ones that I think are probably the best. The worst? I honestly don't know. Marina Break is probably ranked in there on my top 5 worst. I don't get that game. It's very confusing. The tones are very obnoxious. Let's see what else. There was Gold Gun that didn't work properly. Trying to think of some more, but I can't think of any more off the top of my head. Blue Can, I remember Chris did that a long time ago. Yeah, I did a top 10 demo. The real Windows Electronic 101 says Steam has a big problem with accessibility. It's partially accessible, but the menus are not. Yeah, that's what I've heard, and Valve has no interest in making it better. Even though they are a massive company with the resources to do so, they choose not to. Therefore, I choose not to use their platform or give them money, because I guarantee you Valve takes a cut from game sales, and I am not paying them anything. Meshel Sharker asks why I stopped playing STW. Well, first of all, the game is down right now. Also, I quit playing it because it gets boring after a while. So, yeah. Hang on, let me look at my chats here. Yeah, I got bored of it because you're doing the same things over and over and over again. It's good to play casually, especially if you have a few people to actually play it with. But I don't know. Andrew says yes, he is. If you play the extra levels, you fight a Sounderman clone. I don't know how you say his name. Yeah, I couldn't play the extra levels. The creatures get way too fast, like way too fast. The real Windows Electronic says Windows 12 leaks are already out. Yep, we're going to probably have to go through this again, and if I know Microsoft, they'll have some more crazy minimum system requirements, but hopefully those can be bypassed because I got tons of perfectly good computers and I don't need to toss them out just to please some giant corporation that their customer base is not people like you and I. It is businesses and things like that. Windows Electronic 101 says the taskbar is apparently a top bar similar to the OS X menu bar. Sleeper Adventures with Condula Kid says, what's my favorite music genre? Probably rock. Rock and or I guess techno is pretty good too. Blue Can says, how about you playing text-based story games on Android like the what? Like the Lost Air series? I'm not sure what Lost Air is. I could play those. It's just I don't think people like those as much. I don't know. The real Windows Electronic. I heard Windows 12 is going to be based on Windows Core OS, which is based on Windows 10S. But worse, I have no idea. I really doubt it. There were hang on a second. There we go. There were people saying that Windows 11 was going to make everything horrible and programs wouldn't run, but that's not true. And of course, I am live streaming this on a computer from 2009 running the latest version of Windows 11, and it's working just fine. So, yeah. Oh boy, and Kathy's home. Andrew asks if he was even a man at that point. I think he's talking about audio wizards. I don't think so. I think it turned him into some kind of being. Illustrate English. Okay, so Illustrate English is asking why I don't like VG Storm games. So yeah, I did talk about it before, but I will talk about it again. A few things. Number one, in Manamon 1, you have to open up ports to play online. That has not been fixed. That will never be fixed. That was strike one. Strike two, well, I guess strike two is Aaron's unwillingness to listen to feedback from his customers. And strike 3 was in Manamon 2, you have that stupid plot line with Sangora, and that didn't need to be there. I don't know why that was there. I don't know who thought that would be a good idea to put that in there, especially when there are lots of kids that play this game and could get the wrong ideas. So basically, the way that stupid plot line went was she cheated on her boyfriend because her boyfriend left town, and apparently she got some kind of STD. And then it becomes, oh, I want to see him before I die. And, oh, please just ignore the fact that I cheated on you, blah, blah, blah. He does that, which is ridiculous. You know, there's a reason why I laughed through that whole scene. It was either I laugh like that or I get really upset and people don't want to see me mad. But it was just awful. There was no reason to have it there. And because of the way that the game is structured, you have to go through it. You have to help her. It's like, no, I don't want to help this little cheater. And that to me would be the thing that would end things, because if I'm going to trust another person like that, and she does that to me, I can only imagine how badly that must hurt. And it was just terrible. And, you know, there are people that apparently don't like me because of that, but you know what? I don't care. You can't please everyone. I've had people say I would react differently if the guy had cheated on her. No, I wouldn't. It doesn't matter. That's something that you don't do in a healthy relationship. And it's ridiculous. But that's basically why. So hopefully that helps. Mackenzie Parker talking about Windows 12. Yeah, well, it probably will happen. Judith Ponde? I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right. Asks me if I have a Mac. Yes, I have a 2013 MacBook Air. Yep. Mashal Sharker says, I really like Project Dark. Yeah, I haven't really played it yet, but it sounds like it's kind of cool, so I will definitely be taking a look at that tomorrow. I've been reading a whole bunch of books lately, so that's why I haven't gotten to playing it. Andrew says, what makes that scene sad is that those two were friends. That scene was kind of funny, though. Are you talking about Audio Wizards or Manamon 2? The Real Windows Electronic talking about Windows Core OS, apparently a highly restrictive Windows OS. Yeah, I don't think Microsoft is going to do that. At least that's not going to be the only version of Windows, because they know they tried this with Windows RT, and look how Windows RT crashed and burned. It crashed and burned epically. Yeah, so they're not going to make a general purpose version of Windows that would do that. Not exclusively. Now, if you want to buy a computer like that, that's great. That is your choice. But they're not going to do that because there is so many programs written for Windows that would just not work anymore. Marco Garatoni asks why AAC is heavily cheat protected. Because he wanted to make it that way. Mackenzie Parker, what the heck kind of game is that? I don't know what you're talking about. Udit talking about a transport in Manamon 3. Like I said, I really don't care. Yep, Andrew was talking about Audio Wizards. Yeah, no, I don't care about Manamon 3. Quite honestly, I wish I had known that Manamon 2 contained that scene, because if I had known, I wouldn't have... I would not have... I wouldn't have purchased that game. Udit asked if I can give my Manamon 2 key. No, I'm not going to do that. If you want the game, buy it. Udit... Okay, yeah, so Andrew says he was talking about the end scene of Audio Wizards. Says Windows RT never died. Well, it did and it didn't. It didn't catch on with manufacturers because why would it? It was so crummy. I guess, yes, it is in Windows 10S or S mode, or I don't know what the hell they're calling it now. But the thing with that is, yes, you can buy computers like that, but you can take it out of that mode. So I really don't think they're going to do something like that where they lock you into a mode like that. That would seem really, really stupid. Mackenzie is saying NVDA wouldn't work either. There is a version of NVDA that you can get from the Microsoft Store. So it probably would. Just not well. Super Adventures with Condula Kid. Talking about an episode of Project Dark. Yeah, I will get into that and try to play the different stories at least once to give an idea of what things to expect. But my understanding is it's heavily choice-based, so there's a whole bunch of things that can happen. The Windows Electronics saying Windows S mode is restricted to Windows 11 Home. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's meant for people that just want to use Windows and the basic Windows programs and things like that, I guess. Or, well, I know for a while there they were trying to push it in schools to compete with Chromebooks, but I don't know how well that's actually going. The real Windows Electronic says, but still. Udit asks if I've played Eurofly. I've tried to play Eurofly. It makes my head hurt. So, not really. I don't have the patience for it. Andrew asking if I've heard of Circus Master's Revenge. I have. I've played it a little bit. It's not very good. Mackenzie Parker says they should put Jaws on the Microsoft Store. That's not going to happen for a whole bunch of reasons. Even NVDA on the Microsoft Store has some pretty severe limitations. So no, that's not going to happen. Yuda asking about mods for Eurofly. I have no idea. Computers for the Blind says why. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Real Windows Electronics says that doesn't make sense to replace Windows 10 and 11 S mode with, yeah, because there's already the education edition of Windows. No, the difference is, my understanding is the education version is Windows with some additional features. What they're trying to do with S mode is lock it down so that, say, you're inside of a classroom, just like with Chromebooks, the students can't they can't tamper with them. They can't install programs. I think that's the idea. Yeah. Super Adventures with Condul Kid. The update's coming May 19th. Makes Circus Master's Revenge easier to play. I thought that game was abandoned. I didn't think it was still being developed. Blue Can talking about Project Dark. Andrew says the gyroscope controls don't make the game fun. Talking about Circus Master's Revenge. Yeah, I played it a long time ago. I wasn't impressed. CD saying Windows 13 will be completely cloud-based. We shall see. Udit asking about Eurofly again. The Real Windows Electronic almost makes me wonder if this is Microsoft's new take on Windows Starter Editions. Possibly. I don't know too much about those. Super Adventures with Condula Kid. Talking about Project Dark. Mackenzie Parker asks if there's major updates to Windows 11. I don't think so. So the thing that's a little confusing is Microsoft now, instead of releasing major updates, they seem to gradually roll out features in the monthly patches that come out. Speaking of which, let's see, what is today? May 7th? So Tuesday is Patch Tuesday. For those of you that don't know, Patch Tuesday is when Microsoft pushes patches for all their stuff, basically. And it falls on the second Tuesday of every single month, just like clockwork. So Tuesday, May 9th is the second Tuesday of May. For June, let's see, just to look this up. What is the second Tuesday in June 2023? That's not going to tell me. I'll have to dig through some more. I don't want to do it right now. But yeah, just like clockwork. And basically, they are pushing features with those patches. So I don't know what's going to happen. We'll just have to wait and see. Rich Beardsley says, I wouldn't trust him. He says it's getting updated every time he says it'll happen. It either doesn't or it takes months. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Probably that game. Circus Master's Revenge. Andrew says he didn't abandon the game. He held it off. Okay. Real Windows Electronics says, I doubt they'll call it Windows 13. Microsoft hates 13. I have no idea. Super Adventures with Condor Kid. Says that was not about Project Dark. I have no idea. I'm kind of lost now. Real Windows Electronic says they're called moment updates, which is a strange name. Yeah, talking about the patches that contain new features in Windows 11. The moment updates, that might be an internal code name. I don't really know why they call it that. The Real Windows Electronic, and they're effectively sub-feature updates for existing updates to Windows. Yeah, pretty much. Rich. Yep, talking about Circus Master's Revenge. Wait, what? Something about a wizard. King Thork from a Blind Legend was a wizard. Andrew, I'm not sure what that means. I think you were trying to dictate or something. CD, we need a better way of chatting with you during these live streams. Something about a YouTube character limit. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what platform to use. Mackenzie, you can use Google Chat. No, that would be ridiculous. No, that would not work. Possibly you could use Discord, although I am not a fan of Discord servers in general because they can be very spammy. But Google Chat wouldn't work because you can only do individual conversations with people. You might be able to do groups, but I don't know. Windows Electronic talking about Dr. Spatzo? Isn't that a text-to-speech engine? It's like a really old text-to-speech engine. Enzo Stories is asking what we're talking about. All kinds of random crap. Windows, games, anything that comes up really, but hopefully you will enjoy the stream. I guess I can go until 3, because why not? We can do that. Computers for the Blind. It says Discord. Yeah, we were talking about Discord too. I suppose potentially we could set up some kind of Discord server. Problem is, I wouldn't want to moderate it, and it would get way too spammy. Because I've tried joining Discord servers, and I end up leaving them because it's too spammy. And I could mute them, yes, but then that defeats the purpose, and I might as well just leave. Andrew Graham, I think there was a bug with Braille screen input. Yeah, it sounds like it. That's why I keep character echo on. That way I can correct any glitches that happen during that happen as I type. Mackenzie says yes you can. I think talking about Google Chat. potentially that could work. I don't know. Mackenzie Parker talking about groups. Andrew says, what if Thork was a wizard? That would be kind of interesting. Maybe he wouldn't have to be blind then, because if he has magic, he can just heal his eyes. I don't know. It would probably be a totally different game then. Rich Beardsley asking how I like the Sens player thus far. I talked about this before, but yeah, I am quite impressed with it. It's pretty good. The speeds on Wi-Fi are blazing fast, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's going to become even cooler when the update for the screen reader comes out, because then you'll be able to install applications directly, which would be kind of cool, because basically the device runs Android, so it's basically, it seems to me like it's got the hardware of a mid-range Android phone, so it's definitely not crappy hardware, and hopefully they continue to do things with it. I sent a massive list of improvements yesterday that may or may not happen, but at least they should get to someone that can actually make the development decisions to actually to make everything happen. I do think that the product has a lot of potential, and I hope it's not abandoned for quite some time. Computers for the Blind says, I can help you set the server. I think talking about Discord. Most of the servers I'm in are pretty quiet, like the server belonging to the Raffle 98. Marco Garatoni asks if I like 11 Labs TTS. Yeah, their voices are very high quality. I was thinking about doing a text-to-speech skit with the default voices. I forget, the male one I think is called Adam, and the female one is called Bella. I was thinking about doing a skit with those. You only have 10,000 characters per month if you have the free plan, and I don't think it's worth paying for. But yeah, it's a neat platform. The Real Windows Electronic 101 says 11 Labs is scary. Yes, it can be, because if you pay for one of their plans, you can basically take, you can upload voice samples to it, and it will generate a voice based off of the voice data. And it's actually pretty scary how good it is. I can tell in most cases that the voice isn't real, but yeah, it's doing some crazy advanced things with that data. The Real Windows Electronic 101. Yeah, it says it can accurately replicate human voices with emotive and expressiveness based on minimal data and contextual events, and is very accurate in doing so. Yeah, the only thing I wonder is how badly would it mess up if, say, I were to record a sample of me and I put it in there constantly, constantly having a stutter, like right now. I wonder if the stutter would would introduce some very strange things to the model. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I don't know if I want to pay for it. I don't know. I might pay for it for like a month just to play with it, but yeah. Andrew Graham, that's Edward talking about he uses magic to see that's not normal sight. I think he's talking about A Blind Legend. I have no idea. The Real Windows Electronics says it can even clone people's voices. Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about. So yeah, the problem is that you can clone people's voices and make it say things that person wouldn't ordinarily say. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens with that. Marco says Humanware abandoned the Stream 2 and came out with the Stream 3, and he doesn't like it. I don't either. And the Stream 3 is not really that big of an upgrade, so no, I'm just not buying their products anymore. Rich Beardsley says, I got mine yesterday. I think he's talking about the Lens player. Sorry about that. I really hate that. I wish I wouldn't. I can't control that. I shouldn't even worry about it. Yeah, he is talking about the player. There are definitely some bugs. But this is version 1.0, so hopefully there will be some patches and things like that. But yeah, the player works quite well, I have to say. And being able to control your iPhone or iPad or Android phone with the tactile interface is very, very cool. CD, yeah, basically saying that Discord servers aren't technically servers, they're just group chats. This is true. I don't know why they call it a Discord server, because it is not strictly a server in the definition of such, or as such. Yeah. Rich said, and Human read Bookshare books starting at the beginning of the chapter instead of where you left off, talking about the Lens player once again. I really wish I wouldn't do that on S's. It's. I do, though. I have to wonder what would 11 Labs do if I were to give it a bunch of clips of me getting stuck on different sounds. I wonder if it would drastically mess up the I wonder if it would drastically mess up the speech patterns. It probably would. But yeah, no, the player is definitely it has bugs. Hopefully those bugs will be corrected as time marches on. But I have to say, for version 1.0, it's pretty good. Mackenzie Parker talking about text-to-speech skits not having to be exclusively about Microsoft, Sam. No, they don't. I don't know. I guess like I said, I just got to think up some more ideas for the skits, and I just don't have great ideas most of the time or the motivation. Enzo says my friend says you can set notifications to. You can set your settings to at mentions on Discord. Yeah, so I guess if someone mentions you explicitly, it will send you a notification. I don't know how to do that. The Windows Electronics is talking about ChatGPT and Stable Diffusion. I haven't heard of Stable Diffusion. Apparently that does pictures, which obviously I can't see pictures, so it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, ChatGPT, it's more of a toy at this point, and it definitely is biased. They have modeled it to where it won't say certain things, I guess trying not to offend people, but of course the problem with that is you're going to offend people no matter what. But yeah, it's definitely extremely biased, and it leans more towards the left wing. Andrew asks if I take a look at the author D.B. King. I haven't yet. I should go look at that. Rich is talking about the ridiculous lack of storage on the Stream 3. Yes, I have to agree. 16 gigabytes is laughable in 2023. And actually, I think you only have like 12 maybe, because the operating system takes up a few. It's either 12 or I'm not sure how much, but yeah, that's pretty sad. That really is. I mean, just for comparison here, I will show you how much better this is. Let me not do that. Let me unplug the charger from the Sense player, because it is going to have major interference. And here, let's just do this here. So I've just woken it up.
Media player.
Let me do this too.
Voice volume 7. Voice rate 7. Voice rate 6.
Hopefully you can hear that. Let me crank it up just a little bit.
Voice pitch 5. Main volume 10. Main volume 12.
So just to show you,
File manager settings.
let's go into the file manager.
File manager. Flash disk 1.
And I'll hit the start key.
Information dialog. Drive name flash disk.
And I'll go down.
Remaining space 20.32 gigabytes. Total space 44.45 gigabytes.
Yeah, much better.
File manager.
The only problem I'm having, let me put it back to sleep and plug it back into the charger. The only problem I'm having with the Sense player, the only major problem I'm having right now, is it doesn't recognize my micro SD card. I have a 512 gigabyte micro SD card that I'd like to use with this, and it's not recognizing it. The Real Windows Electronic 101 talking about it not being permitted to do things in reference to ChatGPT. It is very restricted. Yeah, like I said, it's Rich Beardsley says Hims definitely improved the build quality of their products. Yeah, the player seems to be pretty good. I unfortunately already had it fall. It fell off of a table, but it was only like 2 or 3 feet, and I don't think it did anything. But you definitely don't want to make it a habit of dropping your electronic devices. The Real Windows Electronics saying it will occasionally do what it doesn't want to do out of nowhere, talking about ChatGPT. Blind Goofball says Discord has a lot of weird terminology. I tend to agree. Uh, 11 Labs. Blind Goofball says 11 Labs would probably completely screw you up. It's AI. Well, maybe, but my understanding is when you're making a concatenated text-to-speech voice, the samples that you give it need to be clear. And I would imagine with anything, if there were too many sounds where I was stuttering, it would take that data and probably sound very strange. It would not sound like a human voice, or if it did, it would probably have lots of weird glitches, which is why if I ever did try to make a digital copy of my voice, I would have to be very careful to make sure that the samples I submitted were free of errors, which I can do, just takes effort. I've said this before, but if I was given the choice to either have vision or to be able to speak normally, I would choose to speak normally, because not being able to speak properly drives me insane. But there's nothing I can do about it. I suspect it's either genetic or something went awry in the development stage. So there's either something wrong with my brain, or there's, I don't know, well, yeah. I mean, that's the only explanation I have. And yes, I've had lots of training, but it's still going to be there. And seems like the best thing that we can do, at least as of right now, because we still don't know that much about how the brain works. The best that we can do is try to minimize the effects. And well, it sucks, but it is what it is. But hence why, if I write, my written communication is much better than verbal. Illustrate English asks if Entombed has problems and if they're bad enough to stop playing. Not really. Most of the bugs, I would say, are very minor, and a few are just highly entertaining. There's only one bug that might prevent you from playing, but it's very rare. Basically, if you have a skeleton as your minion, it's possible for the skeleton to get into a state where it can't be, I shouldn't say killed, but it can't die. Well, it can't die, basically. And when all of its limbs and body parts are mangled, instead of it just being dead, again, I guess, the program locks up and it has a nasty tendency to corrupt your data, but that's very rare. The Real Windows Electronics saying Microsoft expecting us to have high-end computers. Yeah, well, they want people to buy new hardware. The Real Windows Electronic says like Windows 11 and Chrome OS have memory leak issues. I haven't noticed that, but I don't know. Enzo Stories. The Wild Western Drama. Oh, you mean a Western drama? Is talking about it being overpriced, but probably the best game that we have. I don't like that game. I had a really bad experience with it. Basically, I bought the version for iOS, and it performed very poorly, and no one would help me fix it. So, yeah. Andrew Graham, I think talking about DB King books. Yeah, I'm going to check those out. CD. So, 11 Labs now has a multilingual training model. Yeah, so basically if it uses the voice to speak a different language, even if that voice model only speaks one language. I don't know how accurate it is because I only speak English, but yeah. The Real Windows Electronic talking about the next version of Windows having AI capabilities. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, we shall see. Oh yeah, so having advanced AI capabilities that run on the device itself, which would take more processing power. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Get your 64 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabyte SSDs, and NVIDIA RTX 4090 graphics cards. I don't know what that means. I guess that's a high-end GPU. I don't pay attention to GPUs. Mackenzie asking if the Sense Player will update to the latest version of Vocalizer. I doubt it. The latest version sounds like garbage, so I highly doubt it. Houston telling me that Dice World got an update yesterday. I did not know that. That's good to know. The audio game. What? The Audio Gamer 66 asking about Team Talk. Send me an email. I probably deleted your account because I go through every once in a while and clean out accounts that don't seem to be very active. And so the developer of Into the Dragon Cave, or To the Dragon Cave rather, should make more shooters. Yeah. Excuse me. I heard that they were working on another game, but I don't know too much about it yet, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Blind Goofball. I've experienced memory leaks lately on Windows 11. I don't notice, but then again, I have a lot of RAM. Enzo's asking if I've played some Echo games. I don't tend to play those because they're all RPGs, and I get bored of those. That and it doesn't like my stutter too much. That that messes it up quite a lot. So I don't really play games on the Echo platform. Andrew Houston, I can't believe Dice World got updated yesterday. It's been, yes, it has been a very long time. How many software developers does it take to change a light bulb? Oh, none, because it's a hardware issue. Okay, that's kind of a corny joke, but all right, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you, Andrew. Rich, what's wrong with the latest vocalizer? Asks Rich. They compressed it, and it sounds like absolute garbage. And I don't really know why they did that, because there's no reason to worry about disk space in 2023. So I don't know why they had to compress the voices, but yes, they sound like absolute trash now. Rich says they messed up the sounds in the latest Dice World. I wouldn't know. I would have to go download it. Real Windows Electronic says the Echo voice is Ivona Joanna. I have no idea what that is. Mackenzie asking if eSpeak is on the Sense player. No, it is not. You just have Vocalizer. I think it's using the same version of Vocalizer that the Braille Sense uses. Rich says, is that why Ava on the Xfinity box sounds muffled? I don't think so. I think the last time I heard a demo of that particular thing, that was using a compact version. It's not a compact version, but it's I don't know what they did, but they compressed the files to make them smaller, which also compressed the voices. So the best way to describe this probably is if you compare the voice quality on the latest version of iOS compared to the prior one, it is much worse now. I'm not a fan. Rich says the Dice World and selection sounds are compressed. Talking about Dice World, that's unfortunate. The Real Windows Electronics saying that Nuance is a monopoly, buying a whole bunch of other companies for text-to-speech. Problem is, I don't think it's Nuance anymore. I think they spun off into a different company. Andrew says, I sat on the couch for 2 hours telling those to a friend of mine and nearly caused my roommate to lose his sanity. Yeah, I can kind of see how, because those jokes are very corny. The Real Windows Electronic says, and I noticed for some voices there is a premium option, but not for all. Yeah, like I said, I don't know why. I don't know why there was a need to compress the voices, but it sounds horrible. Enzo Stories. Did you know there are a few Easter eggs in A Blind Legend? I did not. I haven't played that game in years. Meshel Sharker. What is a Braille sense? Is it like the Braille Note Touch? Yes. It's basically think the Braille Note Touch Plus, but running more up to date Android versions, and the hardware is generally better. And I think it has some additional features too. But yeah. The Real Windows Electronic asks why we need different versions of one voice. I don't know. That's a very good question. I mean, I think the thing used to be you would use the compact voices in devices that aren't very powerful. But honestly, I don't know how well that works anymore because the processing power has exploded. Yeah. Yeah, Rich says when it comes to buying out competition, Vispero is the worst. Yes, I tend to agree, which is why I don't use their products. And I will not use their products. The Real Windows Electronic. Especially since the medium and premium qualities aren't really that noticeable. Yeah, I think talking about speech voices. Yeah, I don't know why. The Real Windows Electronic. Yeah, meant premium. Andrew, do you know? Do you know Doking? Maybe I'm just not getting it. Rich says, yeah, the Braille Sense doesn't have a screen. Real Windows Electronic talking about Amazon buying Ivona. They did not get rid of the ability to purchase the voices for Windows. You can get them from harposoftware.com. That's HARPOSOFTWARE.com. Rich says the Braille Sense has an LCD but not a touch screen. Yeah, I think so. Oh, Joe. Oh, okay. Says I meant joking. Oh, I get it. Oh, look, and I'm caught up on my comments. Damn, it's almost 2:30. Wow, look at that. I am caught up. Wow, look at that. I am caught up on the comments. That is amazing. But yeah. Oh, let me plug the player back into power. And let me actually check the battery. Let's see. If I hold down the volume down key.
100 charged using AC power.
Oh, look, I think it's charged. I'll let it charge for a while yet. The Real Windows Electronic 101 says, well, you'd have to buy them from third parties, but Acapella has officially discontinued their sappy voices for Windows. I noticed that. So if you want Acapella voices on Windows, you can only get them with the NVDA driver. Blue can I call you on Telegram? No. Blue Ken confirming that the Braille Sense has Blind Goofball confirming that the Braille Sense has an LCD. I think you can also hook the Braille Sense up to an HDMI monitor or a TV. I do believe. And because it's running Android 10, hopefully it will be bumped up to 12 if the things I've heard are true. Presumably, you can also send it to a display using Wi-Fi with the Android. I think it's called the Android casting feature. Enzo says, I almost beat Blind Gladiator, but ran out of coins. The thing about the Braille Sense, though, is I wonder what it would show on the screen, because I don't even know if the HIMS interface is visual. Rich says that there's a bug with changing voices. I'm not sure what he's talking about. The Braille Sense? I've noticed that on the Sense player. So my experience has been, if you download new voices, you have to restart the device to get them to work. Mackenzie says, I have a feeling they might discontinue Acapella for Android. I doubt it. Andrew says, I noticed earlier that you have an Android phone. I have both. I had to get a new phone because the iPhone I have has damaged microphones and speakers. And I need a phone that actually works properly. But I do like having access to both platforms, because I think if you can do that, then you have the best of both worlds. The Real Windows Electronic talking about some Half-Life voice is voiced by Bell Labs TTS. I don't know what that is. I don't know what either of those things are. Fubsipute or Pewd says hi. Hey. The Real Windows Electronic says not sure where you can find that though. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, Blind Goofball says you can connect it with USB-C. Okay, so I take it you could connect it to a USB-C monitor, or you could presumably get a USB-C to HDMI cable and do it that way too. Rich Beardsley says, no, the Sense player. Yeah, the voices on there, like I said, you have to download them and then you have to turn the device off and back on. I'm not sure why. Blind Goofball says the HIMS interface just displays the item that you're currently on with the focus. Yeah, so that probably wouldn't show too well on the screen, but I imagine if you were to go into an Android app, that would probably work just fine. Enzo Stories. I sent this message just so you would read it out loud. Wait, what? Rich says acapella is overpriced. I don't know. The blind guy asking, may I join you? You mean on the stream? No, I don't really tend to do that stuff anymore. Andrew, I may try an experiment. Something to do with a headset microphone. I don't like headset microphones. I found that they don't tend to work very well. Blind Goofball says, yes, you can use a USB-C monitor. The Real Windows Electronic. I was recently informed the iPhone 14... no, the iPhone 14 still uses Lightning. The next iPhones won't. Mackenzie talking about free text-to-speech on Android being eSpeak and RH Voice. Well, I think that's because both are open source. That's probably why. Okay, Rich says if you're in the HIMS interface, it shows the text of all the items and the one that you're currently on. Oh, the item that's highlighted has a box around it. Okay, that's good to know. Blind Goofball saying Android apps display quite well on the Braille Sense. CD, I don't get why the Sense player needs a screen reader update. It has a screen reader, but the screen reader only reads their custom interface. So basically, what they're going to do is basically turn this into, I guess the best way to think of it would be like a Braille Sense without the Braille. So you'll be able to install applications, but you'll need a screen reader to use those. The Real Windows Electronic talking about another text-to-speech engine called Festival. Festival, sorry. It's apparently is open source. Yeah, I've tried that one. It sounds like trash. The Real Windows Electronic. Yeah, I know, quite a strange name. Blue Can asking me, yeah, I don't know. really don't want to talk to you, if I'm being honest. Sorry, man. The real Windows Electronic. The only sappy voice which only works on Windows XP is called CMU Cal. What is that? I don't know what CMU Cal means. I don't know what that means. Mason says, I tried connecting Mason Mayand. Mayand says, I've tried connecting my BrailleSense 6 to a TV with a USB-C port that had an HDMI port. I don't know if that worked or not. I'll just have to find out. Enzo... talking about buying games that are not blind accessible and trying to learn the controls. I don't have the patience for that. That's why I don't feature games like that here. Mackenzie... no Festival is open source and there's an Android version. I've never used it. It doesn't sound very good. It's used on the Roku devices and it's horrible. Andrew says the worst TTS engine is Double Talk. Yeah, that one is pretty bad. Rich. Yeah, so Rich, the player, the Sense player will not have the Play Store. Based off of the stuff I've heard, you can install applications either using a list that they provide or through APK files. It technically might be possible to install the Play Store, just like you can on the Kindle Fire tablets, but I don't know if that would work or not. Enzo says, I just read this message. Hope you enjoy this joke. The blind guy says, corded Apple earbuds have a pretty good microphone. Has anyone heard of the new electronic braille page? I have not. It's probably never going to come out, but... The Real Windows Electronic 101. Says CMU Cal is the name for the festival voice on Windows XP. Okay. I'll take your word for it. Real Windows Electronic. I did see that someone tried to do Portal blindfolded. I'm not sure what Portal is. I guess it's a game. CD. Festival sounds like Microsoft Zira had a stroke, tried to go through speech therapy and failed. Yeah, I have to agree. Although I actually kind of like that Microsoft voice. The Real Windows Electronic saying that Cal voice is a male voice. Talking about some other voice that's only available with NVDA. Yeah, I don't use that speech engine. It is horrible. Blind Goofball saying people charge too much for the premium voices. Well, I mean, I kind of get why, because they're made using voice data from actual people. So, I mean, I understand why. Rich says, what happens if you try to run an APK on the current software? Talking about the player. The Sense player. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I don't think it would let you. The Real Windows Electronic. Talking about Linux, there's another open source speech synthesizer. I don't know what that is. Called Dummy. That is spelled D-U-M-M-Y. I think I've seen that in different distributions of Linux, but it didn't seem to do anything. Enzo asking if I have a favorite game. It's been so long, and it will probably never get a game concept like it, but I have to say my favorite has to be Perilous Hearts. That is a very cool game. I love the concepts that he was trying to work with, but he never finished it. Andrew says, am I the only one that thinks eloquence on iOS is weird? I do too. I'm not used to hearing it. Also, they're using what sounds like either an older version or a version that's been downsampled, and I don't know why, but it sounds weird. Blue Can asking about Festival. I don't know where you get it. It might be on the Play Store, or you might have to install it manually. I'm honestly not sure. Blue Can. Festival TTS. Yeah, I have no idea. The Real Windows Electronics saying the dummy voice just kept stating there was some sort of problem. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Mackenzie. The default Google text-to-speech voice for TalkBack sounds like RH voice SLT. The Real Windows Electronic 101 talking about Speech Dispatcher, which is as far as I can tell, it's the speech engine used in Linux, the equivalent to SAPI 5. Enzo asks if there will be a Halloween skit or a 4th of July skit. I honestly don't know. I thought about a Halloween skit. I thought about doing one a couple years ago. I might put something together. I'm just not really sure what to do. And I'd have to find some atmospheric noises to put in there too. I think I might do one for this year. I guess we'll just have to see. The 4th of July, though, I don't know. I think I'd be more interested in doing one for Halloween, um, Blue Can asking if you can chat with me on Gmail. I mean, you can message me, but my email for those of you that want to contact me is christopher.j.wright, the number 4, at gmail.com. So if you tried to send me messages, it's not going to work if you typed it incorrectly. The Real Windows Electronic 101 says, whoever made the SLT voice clearly wasn't careful to consider that it spells something that shall not be mentioned. Blue Can asking about Halloween, if I've played Haunted Party. Yeah, I've wanted to do a demo of Haunted Party on here, but I think he's still using some copyrighted sounds in that game, and I'm waiting for him to change the rest of the sounds. But I would love to. The Real Windows Electronic, do not ask why. Yeah, I probably don't want to. I mean, I think I have an idea, but yeah. Marco Garatoni, how do you make Microsoft Sam's crying voice? If you mean just the high-pitched voice, it's just cranking the pitch as high as it will go. Mackenzie Parker talking about Microsoft Sam. Oh, look, I'm caught up on comments. Okay, cool. Oh, wow, it's almost 3 o'clock. Damn. Blonde Insanity asks if I heard about the Timecrest rewrite. Yeah, did you hear about the Timecrest rewrite? If so, what do you think? I talked about this before, but yeah, I don't have the patience to play it right now. I'm waiting for Timecrest 4 to come out. I did play it briefly, and it definitely sounds like it's been expanded, particularly when it comes to things like dialogue. But as of right now, if the plot is the same, I don't really have the motivation to go through it. The Real Windows Electronic, pit equals 200. Oh, it says that's the code for... That's the code for the highest pitch for Microsoft Sam. For SAPI 4. Enzo, what do gymnasts put on their popcorn? Somersault? Oh, somersault. Okay. That's very corny. Bluekin Sunshine. Talking about Bakurano Debakin 3, what's my favorite music? You know, all the tracks are pretty good. I would say about 90% of them, 90 to 95. So I don't have a particular favorite. Enzo, I'm glad I made it to the live stream. Well, I hope you enjoy me just babbling. Mackenzie saying Sally is spelled incorrectly. I don't know why it's spelled like that for the Ivona voice. I don't know. Here we are. Let's look at the stats here, see how many people are still here. Okay, we got 11. Okay, cool. I'm caught up. Caught up on the comments. Excuse me. Oh, damn. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go here in about 10 minutes because this has been going on for almost 2 hours. Marco. It's stupid in chapter 8 you can't do anything. So Ash stops the stupid imposter Ignis stuff. I think that's in reference to Timecrest. The real Windows Electronic says YouTube used to have their own text-to-speech voice, but it's been removed. Yeah, I think I heard it. It doesn't sound very good. Blue Ken says I have the sounds. Oh, the sound effects for BK3. Nah, I don't really care. If I'm being honest, that game sounds like the... it sounds like the Looney Bin. I kid you not. It is definitely the Looney Bin. Enzo says, yes, I do. It's very interesting. Thank you. Well, good. I'm glad you liked the stream. The Windows Electronics says it was only known as the YouTube comment audio preview voice. Yeah, I think I've heard demos of it and it sounds very bad. Mackenzie asking what kind of text-to-speech skit I could do with Ivona Sally. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that for a while. Real Windows Electronic. Oh, yeah. Says the voice is notorious for saying A-M instead of am. Yeah, I think there's a skit floating around on YouTube that was made by someone a very long time ago that had Microsoft Sam and the preview voice, and it kept saying, I am the YouTube preview voice. It was just this really terrible monotone voice. Enzo says, please play more phone games. Also, what is your favorite book? Well, you'll be happy to know that tomorrow I'm going to play Project Dark. Favorite book? That one's hard. There are so many that I like. I don't know. Probably, if I had to say, probably the Simon Bloom books, which, for those of you that don't know, they are they're aimed at kids, but I think people of all ages could enjoy them. Basically, the premise behind them, and I just completed them actually as of Friday, because I think they are pretty cool. The basic premise is that it's about a collection of books that control different aspects of the universe. So there's a book that controls biology, one that controls chemistry, and things like that. And the premise of the first one is a boy who becomes he becomes the keeper of physics. So basically, he can control gravity. He can control gravity, space-time, and friction. And it's hard to explain without giving too much away. But basically, these people formed the Knowledge Union, and they try to help humanity advance, I guess, using these books, because the books give them power and control over the universe itself. But it's a pretty cool concept. And so, yeah. CD360. What's the difference between USB and USB? One connects to your computer and stores your data. The other is an IT standard. Okay. Marco asks why the Chrome extension to read comments with text-to-speech, why that won't work anymore. I don't know. But yeah, for those of you that want to check out that book, the first one is called Simon Bloom, The Gravity Keeper. And the author is Michael Reisman, or I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but yeah. Enzo says, everyone let's cheer for Chris. Well, hey, I appreciate that. The Real Windows Electronic. Kind of suspicious if a text-to-speech told me I am not a virus. Yeah, that would be kind of suspicious, wouldn't it? Yes, and he also says, and it also says, it always says, as the letter A. That's, yeah. It's obviously not a very good voice, and they realized that, so they took it away. Marco Garitoni asks if I like Audio Game Hub. It's okay as a casual time waster. I was hoping they would do more with it, but that never happened. Adele says, greetings from Iran. Glad to hear you live. Hey, well, I hope you enjoy the stream, and welcome. Blue Can and Chris, what is your progress on Magic Research? I got to the... I think I'm almost to the point where I fight the tournament leader for the schools. But I have to go through this area of monsters, and it's taking forever. But it looks like I am very close to actually completing the game. which is very cool. Oh, look, I'm caught up on comments. All right, well, let's give it another 5 minutes or so, and I think I'll wrap it up. So if you have any more questions, let me know. But the stream will be done here pretty soon. Enzo says, I went to the table, but the milk and cookies were gone. No presents for them this year. Not sure what that's in reference to. All right, then. Ooh, it's already 3 o'clock. That is insane. I can't believe I've been doing this for 2 hours. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, I'll go another 5 minutes. Let's see, what else? Just trying to think here. Yeah, I've been reading a bunch of books. I got into a podcast called, well, it's technically, it's an audio drama called The Edge of Sleep. And the basic premise of it is when people go to sleep, they die, and they have to figure out why that's happening. Kind of a neat concept. Hopefully they come out with more content this year, because I've been waiting for about a year. Blue can. But the downside is, how am I going to pass the boss on the Thunder Tower, the peak of the Thunder Tower? Honestly, the best way to play that game is train up your magic and use a bunch of spells, because your spells will do the most damage by far. Oh, Enzo says, oh, so I guess a joke about Christmas and Santa? Okay. Huh. Alrighty then. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for me. Let's just check here real quick for some more comments here. No? Okay. 8 watching now. Okay. Well, I guess that's about it. So, unless there are any last minute questions, I think we'll call this a done deal. Blind Games World says, hi, hey, and welcome to the stream, although it's almost over, so if you tuned in, sorry, you'll have to go back through the replay. Blind Life Gaming says, oh, I am very late. Yes, I'm just about done. But, as always, this will be archived. Blue Ken is asking about monocrystals in Magic Research, if there's a way to make them cheaper. I don't think so. You just have to increase the maximum amount of coins that you can use, because the cost goes up. Blind Games World says, I am so late. Yes, you are. Unfortunately. Enzo says, as we say on the Black Sword. Wait, what? Good luck and good hunting. Yeah, really. Adele says it's 11:30 p.m. in Iran. I am sleepy but won't sleep. I am sleepy but won't sleep after your stream. Excuse me. Blue Can. It is absolutely crazy. Wait, what? If you're talking about Magic Research, yes, the cost to build some things towards the later game gets crazy high. Anyway, I think that is going to do it this time around. And, yeah, so you guys take care. And I will be putting out that demo of Project Dark tomorrow.